University in 1989 at Tianjun University of TCM. And then he continued to study and research. And he received his PhD in 2008, also at the same university. But before he receiving his PhD degree, he moved already to England and taught at University of East London until the end of last year. Currently, he runs his own practice and lecture in some countries. So today he is going to bring us a new concept, new thought. His title of lecture is Clinical Use and New Thought of Acupuncture in Brain Disease. Now we warm welcome Professor Wang to give his speech.
Before my speech, first of all, I need to thank you for these two presenters. First of all, Professor Sun was a teacher in my university. Although he's not exactly my lecturer in my class, but he was a lecturer, so I also call him Teacher Sun. Secondly, Dr. Dr. was my school young sister in the same acupuncture department.
Not true.
Not true.
Older sister later.
Then older sister later in my PhD group. So thank you for all of them. And a part of my speech are also contributed by Dr. Liu as well, because we were school sister brothers in the same PhD group. And this first, thank you. Secondly, I noticed some of you take the pictures for the slides, but not actually necessary, because all of us as participants, you all got this paper to show this slide, to show you how to download our slides. So not necessary. Even now, if you got your PC or your smartphone, you can download all our slides online. So not necessary to take picture of our slides. That's also part of our benefit and advantage for this conference. We like to provide all the detail for our speakers and the slides. Okay, let's start my speech. Part of my speech has been presented during BACC conference and TCM conference. And it will be published on, excuse me, any?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry for the color, yeah, sorry. I try to make it a little bit more clear. Oh, I see, okay. Thank you for your comment. Part of this speech will be published on the journal, or possibly you know, the European Journal of Oriental Medicine. First of all, I'd like to thank all my teachers and supervisors. They all from Nanjing University of Chinese Medicine. Many of our participants today are the Nanjing University of Chinese Medicine alumni. You are quite familiar with many of them. First of all, we know the Professor Qiu Maoliang. He was the first professor on acupuncture area, and he was the vice president of Chinese Acupuncture Association. And just previously, my teacher, also Dr. Jidong, who mentioned Professor Yang Changsen. Then we got Professor Xiao Shaoqing, Professor Yang Zhaoming, Professor Wang Ningning. They are all professors in Nanjing University of Chinese Medicine. Only this time, Professor Wang Ningsheng, he is not an official professor in Nanjing University of Chinese Medicine, but he is also a visiting professor of Nanjing University of Chinese Medicine, and also he was my supervisor in the hospital after my graduation. All these supervisors and professors contribute to today's my achievement, my thought. So I'd like to thank all of them to give my value. Okay, as Professor Wu Jidong mentioned, as a lecturer, whatever from Nanyang University of Chinese Medicine, and currently in the UK, my University of East London, and currently private college, we always think something with some foundation. We need some literature review. What's the original source of our new understanding? So my today's topic is about the new understanding of brain. The brain, we all know. In TCM theory, the moment classic TCM takes only cartilage of brain as one of the extraordinary organ. That means it is a third place during the organ system. First place we know Zhang organs, Fu organs, and extraordinary organs. So brain is not so practiced and emphasized during TCM theory. Many of the books even did not mention at all about the brain. So there was a joke. TCM has no brain. There are two meanings of brain, no brain. Firstly, directly on the theory, TCM theory did not mention the detail of brain. Secondly, the meaning is a joke. You TCM practitioner is not so wise because you have no brain. Actually, do we have no brain? The answer is no. We TCM have brain. So we have a little literature review of brain. First of all, the understanding of brain originally from Huang Di Lei Jing. The Huang Di Lei Jing, Ling Shu Jing Mai mentioned, at the beginning of the life, first essence, then develop into the brain with the bones on the trunk, then the network, etc. Which means the brain was first originally established. There are some Huang Di Lei Jing text. We all know Huang Di Lei Jing is called the Bible of TCM. There are lots of different translations in English. Whatever all this textbook, they all covered this chapter, Ling Shu Jing Mai. And also, in Huang Di Lei Jing as well, it was summary. Brain is the seat of marrow. There are some literatures mentioned during even Huang Di Lei Jing 2,000 years ago. Brain is marrow. But what is marrow? The marrow includes the bone marrow, spinal marrow, and the brain. So here the brain is the narrow meaning of brain. The formation of brain as a marrow is related to the congenital essence and acquired essence. This is the marrow. Then under the marrow mentioned during the literature review, kidney essence is the basic foundation of marrow. And the essential substantial supplies nourish to the bone marrow. There are some literature review here mentioned what is marrow. This is the brain. Brain is the seat of marrow, the seat of marrow. Unfortunately, after first mention of brain 2,000 years ago, until 1960s, brain was not developed in TCM area. That means around 1,000 years not mentioned, not emphasized and practiced. Until 1960s, one of the famous TCM practitioner and writer we call Li Shizhen, in his book, in Chinese we call 本草纲目, pointed out the brain is the house of Yuan Shen. Here, Yuan Shen possibly can translate as the primordial mind, but did not explain the detail why and how to practice. After literature review and my research, I believe, or we can indeed believe, Yuan Shen is the source of all the other Shen. And Yuan Shen is the largest and the most honest Shen and dominant life. Yuan Shen is innate and governed by the brain. And we know there are some pictures about Li Shizhen and his famous book, 本草纲目. Interesting is this book, it mostly study and explain the herbal medicine. And this meaning of brain is the house of Yuan Shen was covered in one of the herbs of Xinyi. As TCM practitioner, we all know Xinyi is special function for the nose problems, such as the blocked nose and the rhinitis. So there's something secret. We mentioned the Yuan Shen, brain is the house of Yuan Shen, but what is TCM Shen? From broad meaning, Shen include physical and mental energy. From narrow meaning, possibly most of us are familiar, the narrow meaning, Shen means the mind or spirit. Essence and qi are the substantial foundation of Shen. They nourish the Shen. In TCM, we know there are three treasures. We call the Jing, Qi, and Shen. Shen is part of the three treasures. Post-natural Shen lived in the heart, but Yuan Shen refers to the possession Shen or pre-natural Shen. So Shen, we have the post-natural Shen and the pre-natural Shen. Now, in summary, what's the function? We mentioned the original resource of Shen. Now we move on to what's the function of Shen? After review the literature and some modern study, my summary is first, the Shen to dominate the knife. Possibly some of you are familiar. In Huang Ji Jing, they mentioned some of the prohibition of needling. Some points or some organ, if by accident we needle, it could be something happen. When they mentioned the needle of the brain, it was explained that you will be dying immediately. If you needle on the heart or lung, you will be dying for 3 days, 7 days, 5 days, etc. But if you, by accident, needle the brain, you will be dying immediately. This is part of the function. Shen to dominate knife. Then Shen to operate the physical activities. Finally, Shen to govern the mental activities. Shen, summary, is one of the major 脏腑 organs. Shen has the connection with other 脏腑 organs. The brain is corresponded respectively with 5 脏腑 organs. A basic knowledge in classic TCM, we know heart is the house of Shen. But brain is also the house of Shen. What's the difference? The brain controls the irregular other 脏腑 organs, particularly when they are in a severe condition or a long-term period. This is one of the mostly popular cited illustrated by many of the papers. Originally mentioned about the 脏腑 organs. But the question is, in the brain, it was originally covered, but not emphasized with the later practitioner. As we mentioned, Shen is so important to dominate life, to operate our physical activities, to govern the Shen, to mind and spirit. But does Shen has its channel? We all know the 12  脏腑 organs have all its affiliated channel. Such as heart, the affiliated channel is hand shaoyin channel. Each channel has its affiliated channel, its 脏腑 organ. But brain is so important. Why brain has no channel? After literature review, particularly during my PhD research, I mentioned Dr. Yuhong was my elder sister in my PhD group. We made quite lots of literature review on this area. We believe, particularly based on my PhD research with my research group and my supervisor, we emphasize the clinical practice of Duman. So my summary is, Duman is the channel of brain. But of course, there are some evidence of it. First of all, from Su Wen, 黄帝内经 Su Wen. Su Wen chapter 骨控论 mentioned, Duman enters and connects the brain. We know the Nanjing, this here Nanjing is not Nanjing. The pronunciation, the Hanyi pinyin is the same, Nanjing, but the meaning is different. There's something secret. Nanjing, Nanjing. Nanjing in translated with classic of questions. 28 mentioned, Duman enters and belongs to the brain. These are evidence for my summary. Duman is the channel of brain. So very briefly review of Duman. We are quite familiar with Duman. So Duman starts here, downward, upward, then enters and connects the brain. On the point of 216, 风府. Also, Duman has 3 branches. Was time, so I couldn't explain more detail, but just a little bit review. But of course, this area on brain is not only literature review. There are quite a lot of modern researches, particularly in China. Such as we are all familiar in China, the Tianjun University of Chinese Medicine. The Professor Shi Xunmin, famous in his acupuncture practice, we call awakening brain and open orifice, mostly treating the condition of stroke and dementia. And in Beijing, a very famous neurologist, Professor Liu Hechun, practiced DuMai, DU20 and DU24 to treating depression. In Tianjun, my professor supervisor, Wang, we used acupuncture on DuMai, mostly on DuMai point to treat depression and Parkinson's disease, etc. And quite lots of books, papers published on this area. So we believe the new understanding of brain is one of the developing area of TCM theory. So back to the clinical practice. The brain-related conditions, not only the brain itself. There are several system conditions can be covered by brain-related conditions, such as we all know, the mental illness, such as we say stress, depression, insomnia, etc. And neurological diseases, such as we say stroke, dementia, Parkinson's disease, and some of the other neurological conditions, the MS, etc. And also there are others, such as our first keynote speaker this morning mentioned the gynecological disease, infertility. Also, some of them can be related to brain problems, particularly the hormone system. This part of the reason I understand, as Professor Shen mentioned, DU20 Baihui is one of the popular PowerPoints they use. I think this is part of the reason. Now, my last slide mentioned TCM understanding of common patterns. We know each type of organ, we have whatever heart qi deficiency, kidney yang deficiency, liver qi stagnation. But why we brain have no patterns? I make a thorough literature review. I did not find any book summary of brain patterns. So based on my literature review, my research, and my support of my supervisors, I made a little bit summary of brain patterns. There are deficiency of brain marrow, deficiency of brain yang qi, stagnation of brain connectors, disorder of brain shen, and block of brain offerings. But they are on developing. Because so far they are not published. Until the end of this year, as I mentioned, it will be published on the journal, Oriental Journal of the European Journal of Oriental Medicine, June. But of course, they are still on developing. So my conclusion is, first, brain is one of the major organs. The brain is the house of Yuan Shen. DuMai is the channel of the brain. The patterns of brain and their treatments are on developing. Finally, DuMai points are the major points for treating brain-related conditions. That's all. Thank you very much.
Wonderful speech, and his speech has refreshed my knowledge about brain functions. Indeed, sense. Now, any questions concerning his speech, please? Okay, please. Could you please deliver the microphone to him? Yeah, I'm my colleague coming from Portugal, director from.
Good morning. Thanks for your speech. I would like you just to comment this phrase. Yuan Shen is what brings the past to the present and take it to the future. You want me to repeat? Yuan Chen is what brings the past to the present and take it to the future.
Thank you very much for your future, but sorry, because the noise, I can't understand what's your actual question.
My question is, to you to comment, to make a commentary about this phrase. Yuan Chen is what brings the past to the present and take it to the future.
Right?
Yuan Chen
Yuan
is what brings the
Yuan Chen.
past